Hey there, I'm Nivmiz and I like to make games. Just over a year ago, I started my Devlog series on my first commercial game, Singularium, and a few months ago, I finished it and released it to Steam. In order to cool off and refresh my creative juices before starting my next game, I decided to do some smaller projects, and so I joined a game jam called the Low Res Jam. A game jam is basically a game development competition where you have a limited time to develop a fully fledged game, and there's usually a theme you have to stick to or a limitation on what you can add, just to make things a little more interesting. Today, I'll tell you the story of how I made a full game about hacking into a child's computer in just 2 weeks. But first, I just wanted to mention that only like 1% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys took the time to go click that button. I know everyone says this, but it really does help me out a ton at zero cost to you, so there's really no reason not to if you like my videos. Back to the video. The Low Res Jam doesn't actually force you to stick to any specific theme. It only gives suggestions, but it does impose one hell of a limitation. Your game's resolution can't be more than 64 by 64 pixels. When the jam started, me and my friend, who I joined the jam with, started brainstorming. We looked at the suggested themes, and the one that stood out most to us was all systems are broken. What does it mean to have a game in which all the systems are broken? We got to thinking, and got the idea of playing as an antivirus, trying to fend off a computer virus that's trying to break the systems of the computer. We thought of how, maybe as you played for longer, more systems would break down. Maybe your screen would get buggy, or your controls would start glitching. But while these ideas would fit the theme very well, they weren't really fun in practice when we made prototypes for them. Turns out, playing a game that's purposefully buggy just feels like you're playing a buggy game. That's a pretty important lesson for game development in general, I think. Sometimes you come up with a crazy concept that you think is super interesting and thematic, but you don't stop to think if it'd actually be fun to play with. Gameplay should almost always take priority over theming. Anyway, after abandoning that idea, we finally settled on a concept by flipping the previous one on its head. Instead of playing against a virus that's destroying the computer, what if you play as the virus that's destroying the computer? The story would be about an innocent kid who looked up how to get free schmobucks for his favorite game, ROBLOX, and accidentally downloaded a virus onto his computer. You. We found this concept pretty funny and went ahead with developing it. This game jam had a fairly long time frame of 2 weeks, so at first I took it pretty slow. I added the basic functionality of moving around, shooting, and some basic enemies. At first, the enemy code was simple. Always target the player, stop at a certain distance, and start shooting. But this approach had 2 problems. First, this behavior is pretty boring. The enemies all clump up and try to attack you, and it's not really fun to shoot them down. And second, the enemies are cheating. The player can only shoot in the 4 cardinal directions, as the game is a twin-stick shooter played with a keyboard. The player can only shoot up, down, left, and right with the arrow keys, so why should the enemies be able to stop anywhere they want around the player and shoot directly at them, with no limitation on their shooting direction? My solution to this issue was changing the enemies so that they choose a random target out of 4 points around the player, go there, and start shooting. This way, enemies work together and kind of surround the player. Plus, after limiting their shot directions, they'll also feel more fair and not like they're somehow breaking the rules of the world. I also still managed to get some use out of the old movement code by adding a second type of enemy that just rushes straight towards the player. These encourage fast reactions and spammy high-octane shooting, which is the vibe I'm going for. After finishing the basic gameplay mechanics, my friend sent me some art he drew for the different apps the player would have to visit and destroy. There's the browser app, the email app, the recycling bin, and the file explorer. We also decided that once the player managed to beat all these levels, they'd unlock the settings app, where they'd face a boss and ultimately destroy the computer. As the days passed, we designed unique goals for each of the different levels. In the browser, you'd have to paste a malicious link into the search bar. In the email, you'd have to open a corrupted message. We also designed the levels themselves, filling them with a horde of enemies and making them adapt in difficulty based on how far you were in the game, as you can play the levels in any order. When working on a 2D game, a concept that comes up a lot is vector math. I've used it and a bunch of related math concepts quite a bit during my time developing games, and I had to learn it alone with random unorganized sources online. But I'm happy to announce that this video has a sponsor, Brilliant.org, that can help you learn vector math, computer science, AI, and a bunch of other related topics all in one place with incredible effectiveness. Brilliant is a learning platform that focuses on unique and interactive lessons. You don't just memorize the material, you build your problem-solving skills by tackling related questions. Plus, Brilliant is great at helping you build that habit of learning a little bit every day, and building a learning streak feels super rewarding. If you're not a game developer but you want to get into it, Brilliant also has a ton of great programming courses that can get you started on your coding journey, learning Python, computer science, and how to think like a programmer. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/nivmiz or click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thank you, Brilliant. Finally, 2 days before the deadline, we finished the normal levels and it was time to make the boss. It was 1 AM and I don't remember much, but after mashing my keyboard for an hour in a half-awake trance, I ended up with a pretty engaging boss fight, with a few different and unique attacks. I'm pretty sure Tired Me has superpowers, because the fight also ended up being pretty hard, and I'm actually pretty happy with that. My last couple Game Jam games were way too easy, and I wanted this one to have a bit of a kick to it. We polished up the finishing touches, adding music and sound effects, a menu and a pause menu, and I even recorded myself saying some of the lines you see on screen during the game for a voiceover.
You're in. Infect as many apps as you can.
Oh, that doesn't sound like me? Here, let me take off all the effects.
You're in. Infect as many apps as you can.
Yeah, audio editing is like magic. Once I thought the game was all finished up, I posted the game to my itch.io page 40 minutes before the deadline, and sent it to my Discord members. You should totally join my Discord, by the way, we have a great community over there. A few minutes passed, everyone seemed to be enjoying it, until one person sent this message. Turns out, the portals that take you to the different levels weren't working properly, and now I had less than 10 minutes to fix the problem and submit the game. I desperately looked for what could be the problem, finally found it, quickly fixed it, and waited for what seemed like ages for the game to build and upload to the jam page. Then, it was done. The bug was fixed, the game was done, and the jam was over. Overall, I'm really happy with how the game turned out. I think its scale is perfect for the time frame, not too ambitious, but still decently long and enjoyable. I'm also happy with the difficulty of this game, and I think I'll try to aim for similar levels of difficulty in future challenges. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you liked the video, a dislike if you didn't, and comment any suggestions or thoughts you have. Till next time, see ya.